Good evening, race fans. Welcome to virtual Long Beach, the Road to Indy in the Elite Racing League, and we're live tonight on the Elite Racing Network. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Gillespie along with Rishav Kozla. We're watching the last minute or so of qualifying right now. You might have seen car number 8 just sort of bouncing off the wall. That was Will Power, the former IndyCar champion, Indy 500 champion. We are watching James Davison right now, who thrilled us all during this past year's Indy 500 with a notable incident in which the brakes locked up on his car and the right front wheel caught fire and necessitated a rescue and the first test of the IndyCar aero screens under a fire extraction situation. Right now, Will Power is your provisional pole sitter with about 40 seconds left in the race. Normally, Will Power drives the car number 12. This time around, it's James Davison in 12. Will Power is in the car number 8. R.C. Enerson, another IndyCar veteran, is in car number 50. R.C. won one of last week's races in the Road to Indy warm-up series at Barber Motorsports Park. Once again, we're driving the USF 2000 cars tonight, not the traditional IndyCar Delares. These have a little bit less horsepower, a little bit less downforce, and a little bit less speed, but they're just as exciting to watch. Rish, tell us what to expect tonight.
Well, I think there's a lot of new factors in here. First of all, this new Long Beach circuit. This is a pretty new addition to iRacing as a whole as qualifying comes to an end here. So, I mean, this is probably one of the first times a lot of these drivers are getting a chance to enjoy the streets of Long Beach on iRacing, and I must say they've done a great job here. It's a beautiful track in real life. It's a beautiful track in this game as well. As you see there, R.C. Enerson with a big hit into the wall there after qualifying. He ends up P5. Your top three is Will Power, James Davison, and Peter Dempsey in that number 34 car. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be challenging. We haven't really seen a race going on here before, but this will kind of be a little bit of an indication prior to the actual full-time IndyCar series that we're going to be having running at Long Beach, at the streets of Long Beach here. I'm looking forward to it. This is one of the best street circuits, I think, in the United States, probably one of the best street circuits in the world, and we're getting the distinct joy of getting to commentate over a race here.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. We have about a minute or so left in the official qualifying round. Well, no, wait a second. The timing and scoring is just a bit off here right now, but Long Beach is just one of those tracks that normally you would expect to see in the spring. As we watch coming around the fountain, Zach Evans in the car 13 or 1B rather coming around the fountain, 18 rather coming around the fountain. Hard to see some of the numbers with the Road to Indy livery right now, but you would normally see Long Beach being run in April. This year, the Grand Prix of Long Beach will be run at the end of the season to close out the IndyCar season and the IMSA season. Just because of COVID, they want to make sure they have a chance to get as many fans in attendance as possible, and there are hopes that we'll be able to have vaccines well in hand by then to allow fans to attend in the fall. But this should be an interesting race tonight. Just a few seconds left in qualifying. Once again, Will Power, the 2018 Indy 500 champion, is your provisional pole sitter. James Davison in the 12 car is on the outside of the front row, and we are now through with qualifying. Peter Dempsey's third. Trenton Walco is fourth in qualifying, and we're resetting the field right now. So we will stand by and watch as they grid up for the start.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even stress enough the fact that we have Will Power. That's Team Penske IndyCar driver Will Power. You reading that correctly, driving and is the pole sitter for this first race here today. Great to have him involved. Once again, amazing opportunity to have so many professional drivers in the field tonight. Will Power kind of headlining that, and right now puts that 8 car on pole. We'll see if he can transfer that into a race result. I'm trying to think. I don't know how well my IndyCar history holds up. Has Will Power ever won on the streets of Long Beach?
Let me check the schedule and see that, or check my records and see. I believe he has, but I am not 100% sure about that. Let's double check the records. It would surprise me if he had not.
Yeah, I was gonna say typically Indy 500 winners, Long Beach winners. Normally, it's a very similar list there, and Will Power, obviously IndyCar champion, Indy 500 winner. I'd be fairly surprised, and one of the best when it comes to qualifying on road courses, especially. I'd be very surprised if he has not gotten the job done at Long Beach, but if he hasn't, he could still definitely get it done tonight.
As near as I can tell, his best finish at Long Beach may be second when he finished behind Mike Conway in 2014, but I could be wrong about that.
All right, then. Well, I mean, obviously, though, no one probably knows the streets of Long Beach quite as well as Will Power, though, as the pace car already going to peel off, and we're going to be underway very quickly.
Of course, Will now has one pole in iRacing compared to more than 50-some poles in IndyCar. We are underway now with the green flag as Will Power leads him down Shoreline Drive heading towards turn 1.
Ooh.
James Davison spun around.
Yeah, James Davison looks like, oh, and he goes in, a massive incident there. 17 car, the 12 car, Peter Dempsey involved in that. Looked like it was just, yeah, massive damage, lots of debris on the track. I don't know if they're going to pull a caution out for this or what, but man, oh man, a huge incident there in turn 1. I kind of
Let's get the replay on this.
Yeah,
let's watch it and see what happens. Will Power leads him down into the turn.
Here we go. It's James Davison on the outside there and Peter Dempsey on the inside. Looks like Davison just kind of turns across the 34 as the caution flag does come out in there for the debris in turn 1.
And then, let's see, we had other cars caught up in that mess as well.
Yeah, that was Ryan Gabel in the number 17 car involved. He and James Davison both get caught up in that. Massive damage on those cars. They're going to be pretty much done for the day. These cars take pretty severe damage. You can see just how messed up the wheels are on that car. As Will Power now paces the field around. We don't even make it past the first corner, and yeah, there we go. Will Power will lead
and that's not unusual compared to real-world Long Beach. That first turn usually tends to be a bit of a bear.
Absolutely. I was going to say, what was it? I believe it was 2019 or 2018 where it was Simon Pagenaud and Graham Rahal came together. So even the professionals do it fairly frequently, and it's an aggressive turn 1 there. But here we go. The guys will be pacing around. They'll catch up to the pace car. It is a 15-lap race here today, and so there we go. The Pace Porsche 911 there, beautiful looking pace car that we've got. Fits on the streets of Long Beach for sure.
That's not the Elite Racing League. That's the standard iRacing pace car, right?
Yes, it is the standard one. I don't believe we have the ability to bring out the Elite one for race cautions. We'll typically use the Elite one for pre-race pacing of the field, and especially look out for that in the coming season. I think we avoided using it today due to the standing of the Road to Indy series, but yeah, right now expect to see that beautiful Corvette C8 pace car at more events in the future.
And that Porsche does look a lot better than the pace truck iRacing usually gives us.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's a beautiful. I can't even tell. It looks like a 911 GT3 without the wing, and God, yeah, beautiful car there. But some beautiful race cars right behind it there. These USF 2000s are very good-looking cars. The Tatas PM18 chassis, I think, is what it's called. As we see, ooh, someone goes off to the right. Looks like they almost hit the wall there. Might have just looked away from their screen for a second. So a little bit of a chaotic start to the race here already.
Yeah. Let's set the field now for you. Will Power is your leader as we come around on lap 2. R.C. Enerson in second, Trent Walco third, Josh Green fourth, Simon Siles Sykes fourth, in fifth place, Dylan Christie in sixth, Chad Turnquist in seventh, Marshall Stanley, who had a great run last week, is in eighth, Jackson Lee in ninth, and Presley Sora in 10th. We should also point out that James Davison is now down to 15th place, Ryan Gavell in 16th, Peter Dempsey is down to 18th place, and I think Davey Hamilton might have been knocked out. He was in car 2, also an IndyCar veteran, and I think he may have been knocked out in that crash. He's being shown as one lap down.
Yeah, might not have even made the start there with how scoring is showing him. But what's interesting here is James Davison, that car looks pretty much good as new. I don't know if these guys have a fast repair available to them. But yeah, it looks like James Davison ready to be backing at it, and he'll be restarting in probably the 13th position here. Meanwhile, Chad Frankenfield will go to the end of the line, possibly by choice there. And then we have a couple of cars still on pit road. Lights are out on the safety car, so we'll be doing one more lap here, but it's a full lap around Long Beach. It's not quite like these ovals where you can get it over with in about 40 seconds. You've got about 2 minutes here to go before we go green, but Will Power will lead this restart from RC Anderson. We've seen RC has shown some amazing pace like he showed at Barber last week, where he dominated that second race, or excuse me, the first race at Barber Barber Motorsports Park. Though Will Power in the field. Oh, excuse me, there we go. Somebody has tweeted out to us, Will Power has actually won the Long Beach Grand Prix twice. So we missed.
Please correct us on that. Which years?
That has not.
Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. I was trying to scan through the bio, and I couldn't quite see it because I was trying to follow the action on the screen at the same time.
Well, we've got a little bit of a lull in the action, obviously, with the pace car out. So let me see if I can find the race winners list for. Here we go, Long Beach Grand Prix. Will Power has won it in 2008 and 2012.
Okay, so I stand corrected. He actually won the final Champ Car race at Long Beach in 2008. That was that was the last race before the merger. IndyCar was racing, or the IRL was racing rather at Tokyo in Japan that year at Motegi the same weekend, and they held the dueling races as the final races before the actual merger at St. Pete.
All right, that's great, and thank you. Big shout out to at Thompson 500 on Twitter for telling us that and reaching out to let us know. Appreciate you fact checking us here on the air. But the pace car is going to be peeling back into the pit lane, and Will Power will be leading this field back to the green flag.
Here we come down Shoreline Drive. The pace car off. Will Power leads them down to the line, and we've got some more trouble in the back, it looks like.
Yeah.
Or is that just tire smoke? It looked like somebody lost control back in the back.
Ooh, they have.
Yes, we did. We do have somebody out of control.
I can't even tell who that is. Was that somebody maybe even a lap down? There was a car around. Yeah, I can't even tell who that was. But we did have a car sideways in the. Yeah.
Here we come back down to turn one. Will Power leads them down along with RC Anderson heading down into the hairpin.
Yeah, we'll move back up to the lead of the field here. Will Power half a second already clear of RC Anderson, but this field stretching out a little bit. Long Beach a little bit easier to pass on than most road courses, but still a road course ultimately, and still very tricky to pass on. But it's a nice wide or a nice wide street course here. Excuse me, I cannot speak here tonight, but yeah, I mean it's a fantastic sweeping street course we've got going on here. This straightaway right here is probably one of your better opportunities to make an overtake, as well as, of course, Shoreline Drive all the way down to turn one. But right now,
heading down into turn 10 right now.
Yeah, Will Power will bring this car through the hairpin, and right now looks fairly comfortable. We'll see, though, what the power of the draft looks like, as RC is able to get a pretty solid exit off the hairpin. Now you've got this long run down to the first corner. Can RC Anderson use that draft to get to the back of Will Power? Doesn't quite look like it. There's still some ways to go on this straight.
Coming down to start lap number 6, or lap number 5, actually. Heading into turn 1 again, and then heading around to the fountain corner. The fountain, one of the most iconic sights in motorsports as you come around that fountain into turns 2 and 3 at Long Beach. The drivers who have made that turn are some of the most legendary in the game.
Absolutely, yeah, and these cars are looking fantastic here on the streets. You saw there just some sparks coming off of Will Power's car from either a little bit of a skim there with the wall or also just bottoming out on the track. So right now looking great. These cars are looking great, and RC Anderson is the only person who's really able to stay in touch here with our pole sitter, Will Power. Let's see what RC can do if he can get close enough to that A car. Right now, he's a little bit too far back to be making any kind of move, but I think a little bit behind them for third place, we've got Trenton Walco and Josh Green going at it as well. Josh Green about 3/10 behind Walco. So, as we see Trenton Walco spin it around there into the wall.
And he's into the wall.
He's going to lose that third position there, and he's going to come back around. Keeps it moving. Doesn't look like too much damage. No, he's got some, looks like a toe link is knocked out of line there, so he's going to have to come down to pit road. Hard hit there.
We avoid the caution so far, it looks like, as long as he can keep it between the walls and get back to the pits safely. Here comes the field up behind him. Let's see. Okay, he's pulled off the track into a safety area to get out of the way of everyone.
Yep. So meanwhile, we'll resume the battle up front then. RC Anderson slightly closer this time to Will Power, about 0.3 of a second behind the 8 car in the lead, but RC's got to be there coming off of one of these corners onto a straight there. Aggressive on the curbing there for that 50 car. You can tell he's pushing right now to try and catch up with this IndyCar champ.
Let's watch as they head down to Seaside Drive.
Strong exit off the corner there for RC, but once again, he's about 7/10 off coming into the corner, but he gets such a good run off the corners that he brings that down to about 3/10. Here's where he really needs to be on Will Power here. He's got to get a great exit off of this hairpin, maybe sacrifice the entrance a little bit, try and work the exit, try and get to the back of this 8 car. Here we go. This will be the battle for the lead. I think this is the closest we've seen RC all race. Is that draft powerful enough for him to make a move, though?
Looks like Power's pulling away a little bit, clearing out to about 8 car lengths as they come around the Shoreline Drive corner, heading down towards turn 1. Let's watch and see if Anderson makes a move. Not quite. Nope. Still tucking in behind Power.
Yeah, a little bit too far back right now. We'll have him going around the fountain here. Once again, just a beautiful corner. One of my favorites here on the track. It's so unique to the Long Beach circuit. But yeah, once again here, you see this first sector seems to be really where Will Power is stronger than RC. He's able to pull out a gap just a little bit, but once we get over here, now these next couple of corners seem to be where RC is extremely strong, and we've got a little bit of a battle as well going on for third position behind these guys. You got Josh Green leading Simon Sykes, both of these guys. Josh Green, a US F2000 driver, I believe. Simon Sykes driving in Formula 1600. At least in the 2020 season. Not sure what Simon's plans are for 2021, but both of these guys are major talents to keep an eye out for. They're showing it here in iRacing as well right now, dueling it out for third position behind the 2 big names up front.
Let's watch as they head down through the corners and head back towards the hairpin to come down and complete lap number 7. We're at the halfway point of this 15-lap race on Long Beach. Once again, you're watching the Elite Racing Channel and Elite Racing League Road to Indy racing tonight from Long Beach. Will Power, your leader in the number 8 car, followed by RC Anderson as they head down Shoreline Drive towards turn 1. Josh Green is in third place. Oh, Anderson pulls out, but pulls back in, doesn't make a move.
Yeah, you can see there, Simon's really close to the back of Josh Green right now, and we'll see what he can do to get by this number 2 car of Josh's here.
Apologies, I was calling Simon and Josh instead of RC and Will. My mistake on that one.
All good there. Both very close battles going on here towards the front of the field, and these guys have checked out on 5th place Dylan Christie, who as well has gapped Marshall Stanley to a fair margin there. Not too much battling going on further back in the field. It's really this battle for first and this battle for third that's really keeping us on our toes right now. But again, we kind of see Josh Green pretty strong in the early stages of this track. I think Simon Sykes finds a lot of pace in the later sections, similar to what we're seeing from RC Anderson and Will Power.
Josh Green starting to pull out just a little bit here, but they're both still running about 3 seconds, almost 4 seconds behind the leaders.
Yeah, some ways back. I want to actually, let's see, as we cross over, let's ride on board with the lap with RC Anderson here. Driver's number 50 car. Let's show you around this beautiful new Long Beach circuit. You can see there the nice long run down Shoreline Drive, the slight curve to the right. You want to get all the way to the right-hand side here to get the best radius you can into turn 1, and then, of course, this famous hairpin around the fountain. Ooh, you see Will Power get a little bit loose in front of RC. This allows him to close up pretty significantly here. Careful.
Looks like he scraped the wall there, too, going through the corner, coming out of that corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Will Power looks like he's struggling a little bit with the balance on that car right now. Looks like it's a little bit shaky underneath him, and right now RC is loving that right now, but love this corner as well. This section here, you got such a wide area that you never really get to see on a street course, so you're using all of it right over the curbs there, and here you go onto the back straightaway, heading into the final section of the track.
Any guidance on whether we should expect pit stops tonight, Nick? Because the tires are starting to get a bit worn down on these guys.
Yeah, it definitely looks like the tires are getting worn down, but we expect a 15-lap race like this shouldn't need any kind of pit stops or anything like that. It's up to the drivers here to make sure they take care of their tires for those 15 laps there. You see RC slide it off the final hairpin there, one of the tightest corners in motorsport in general. And then around 2, turn 1 across that start-finish line, and we start over once again. What a beautiful track. Once again, iRacing doing a fantastic job at recreating all of these real-life racetracks. They've done another fantastic job here with Long Beach.
We don't talk enough about R.C. Enerson. He is the lead driver in the Lucas Oil School of Racing, has been competitive on the Road to Indy circuit, has done a few IndyCar races, a lot of sports car races, and I think he even tried a NASCAR race a while back last season.
Absolutely, yeah. RC is, he's been thereabouts for the past couple of years, and knocking at the doors of these top levels in whether it's NASCAR, sports cars, or IndyCar. Funding obviously is always the end goal for all these drivers, and that's where things have been a little bit trickier for RC, is securing that funding to get it through together for a full season. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to meet RC when I participated in the Lucas Oil School of Racing myself, and then getting a chance to race with him in the Elite Racing Leagues, as he's now a full-time driver in both the Cup and Xfinity Series there. And then we'll actually also be making a start for our endurance team tomorrow morning.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because it's Rolex weekend, right?
Well, Rolex weekend in iRacing, and then next weekend will be real-life Rolex weekend. So if you love Daytona International Speedway, you're going to love the next few weeks, because even then, after that, you've got, I think in 3 or 4 weeks' time, you got the Daytona 500. So everything's going down in Central Florida, central to southern Florida there right now. But yeah, Rolex 24, lots of big names this year. Jimmy Johnson, of course, making his second Rolex start, I believe. But first, where he's no longer a full-time NASCAR driver.
Well, I was referring to you guys racing tomorrow.
Of course.
In case folks want to catch the action on iRacing.
Absolutely, yeah. Action's going on iRacing. We've actually got one of those events is getting underway. Actually, right now, I believe the practice session just opened up for it. iRacing typically runs 2 events, so 8:40 p.m. Tonight. So that's in just under 40 minutes here is when the green flag should wave for the first Rolex 24. And then tomorrow morning at 8:40 a.m., 12 hours apart, the start times will be the second Rolex. That's when my team, Inferno Racing, will be taking part in the event. R.C. Anderson, one of our 4 drivers, driving a Dallara P217 to try and go for the overall win in that. But yeah, man, it's a tricky race. I've run the Rolex 24 myself a couple of times. It's Daytona is a very tricky track, because you're going from such high speeds up to 200 miles an hour down to extremely slow speeds when you go to turn 1 in the bus stop. So it's really how confident are you on your brakes, and that's really where it's where you need to find time and where you can actually make up on your competitors. So looking forward to it. I myself, I'll be crew chiefing for that team, so looking forward to it, but not quite looking forward to the 30-hour day that I'm going to be spending tomorrow.
And you guys actually do a full 24 hours, right?
Yes, sir. 24 straight hours there. We've got 4 drivers in our car. They'll split that time. And yeah, we've got driver trainers. We've been doing practice. We've been getting ourselves ready for this, and fingers crossed we can bring home that victory.
Well, good luck tomorrow. We're down to 4 laps to go right now. R.C. Anderson still trailing Will Power with 4 laps to go. Heading down the back end, down Seaside Way.
Yeah,
down towards turn 9.
Looks like Will Power's saved his tires maybe a little bit better than RC there. He's been pulling out that gap now. It's now almost 2 seconds. Back when it was about 0.3 of a second before, maybe 5 laps ago. So RC may be struggling a little bit on tire wear right now, like you were talking about before there, Mark. But the battle for third, though, still rages on here. Simon Sykes still hounding the back end of Josh Green here, keeping things nice and competitive for the final podium position.
We are down to 3 laps to go now. Let's catch up with the leaders, and let's follow Will Power around for a lap in car if we can.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's see what it looks like from a 2-time Long Beach winner there, just past the fountain hairpin there, and you can see just how loose the car is there through these mid-speed right-hander corners. These are probably some of the trickiest corners on the track there, because it's a little bit off camber, and you're just trying to keep the car steady, but you feel like you can carry so much more speed than you actually can there. And there you see Will Power sliding the rear end around, but of course, if anybody knows how to handle the rear end of a car, it is Will Power, and just balancing the car around a track like Long Beach and putting in just fast lap after fast lap.
We're at full speed right now, going down Seaside Way, heading into turn 9. The 9-10 complex here. A quick right-hander, then a left-hander, followed by that second left-hander, and then you hit that hairpin to come back onto shoreside drive.
Yeah,
or shoreline drive, rather.
Full opposite lock, though. It's extremely tight there, extremely slow, and then you're suddenly back on full throttle. And that's, I mean, we saw it on that restart. So easy to get that wrong there. You can get on the throttle just a little bit too early and spin the car around because you're so low in the revs. You've got so much torque going through the engine at that particular point. But yeah, Will Power completes the lap here. Turn 1 again. Honestly, if I'm gonna say this about every corner at some point here tonight, but just this is one of the most intense tracks to drive and one of the most fun tracks to drive. That I've ever gotten the experience to race on. And yeah, Long Beach, just every single corner you have to tackle it at 100%, and it's just a fantastic lap.
This would be a fun track to do a two-seater ride in.
Ooh, absolutely. I'd love to talk to someone who's done that, or anybody who's just gotten the chance to drive around this track. Obviously, it's a temporary street course, so it's not necessarily like some other racetracks where you can take your road car and go for a couple laps and try and get a feel for what these guys are dealing with. You know, the only people who really get to drive this are the IndyCar drivers, I think the Indy Lights drivers, and then the prototype drivers in the IMSA series. That's about it. After that, the streets become just that, streets of Long Beach.
As we come down Shoreline Drive, Will Power will take the white flag for the WhiskeyCast.com last call. WhiskeyCast is the podcast and website with your home for all things whiskey related from all over the world. You can check it out at WhiskeyCast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Will Power heading down into turn 1 now, the final time around. R.C. Enerson about 2 seconds back now. 2.1 seconds to be exact.
Yeah, actually looks like we had a mistake there from Simon Sykes a little bit further back. He's now fallen down to 6th position, so something happened to that 6th car. So Josh Green now comfortably in 3rd position, 9 seconds up on 4th place Dylan Christie. This top 3 has been absolutely dominant over the rest of the field. Simon Sykes trying to recover something, maybe some damage on that 6th car. You can actually see it. I think maybe just knocked that front end in. Might have been on that final hairpin that we were talking about earlier today.
Chad Frankenfield in the 15 car may actually catch up to Simon before long if this keeps up.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep an eye on that interval there. Chad a little ways behind, though. It seems like he's also maybe gotten caught up in some stuff because there's about another 12-second gap there back to 7th and beyond. But for Will Power, it's been a pretty straightforward day so far. R.C. Anderson gave him a little bit of a challenge earlier on, but Will Power is going to come across the line from pole position, led every lap. Will Power is going to win here, race number 1 at Long Beach.
He's won twice at Long Beach in real life, once now in the Elite Racing League Series. Will Power, your winner tonight, the 15-lapper on the virtual track at Long Beach.
And there you go.
As he pulls over on the side here.
Yeah, he'll come over to a stop here real quick. There you go. Will Power will win this race. R.C. Anderson then beats Will Power, R.C. Anderson, Josh Green. Dylan Christie then coming across 16 seconds back from these leaders. You can see just how dominant those top 3 were. Then Marshall Stanley, Simon Sykes, Chad Frankenfield, and other ways behind. Actually, Simon Sykes looks like he's not going to make the finish either. We're seeing him fall down the field as well. So Simon looks like he'll come across eventually in P10. But there you go. That's what this initial race looks like. We're going to head over to our transition screen. We're going to head over to race number 2. But we're going to let this finalize a little bit there. You see Simon comes across the line 55 seconds off the leaders. Definitely picked up a significant amount of damage there on that last lap. That certainly hurt his chances at that podium.
Once again, Will Power, your winner in the first race, followed by R.C. Enerson and Josh Green. Right now, R.C. Enerson, if we did have a leader in the series, would be your leader. He had 1 win last week in a 2nd place and then a 2nd place tonight so far.
Yeah, RC's been extremely strong here in this series. Cars he's fairly familiar with, being a road to Indy driver himself. So looking forward to seeing how that all fares in terms of championship. We unfortunately don't have live championship standings with us, but we'll try and get you them as close as possible when we can.
I think this is just an unofficial series anyway. This is just more for fun, and the points don't count.
Well, if that's the case, then that's we're certainly having quite a bit of fun here tonight, and I think all of these guys are certainly enjoying the racing we've had so far.
We'll see how they line up. Are we doing qualifying for the second race?
So if the previous race at Barber Motorsports Park was anything to go off of, the top 10 will be at an inversed grid. So they'll all be sent to the back, and then from 11th onwards, we'll get a chance to qualify for the regular pole for race 2. But everyone, if you finish 1st through 10th, you're going to be starting at the back of the field for this race. We're just going to take a second here, load into the new lobby for race number 2. Stay with us. Thank you all for tuning in tonight for, I believe, the second ever broadcast we're doing here on the Elite Racing Network. If you're a fan of the Elite Racing Leagues, this is now 100% the location for all of your Elite Racing Leagues action. It's all going to be taking place now on the Elite Racing Network. All of our events from the full NASCAR Cup Series to our weekly series, like the trucks, the Xfinity. We're going to be running IndyCar. Myself and Mark will be running that IndyCar broadcast team. So that's going to be a ton of fun. We're getting our reps in here with the Road to Indy series right now. But yeah, absolutely stick around. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Elite Racing Network, because this is where you're going to be getting all of the great action from this fantastic league.
And we'll start the IndyCar series, I believe, February 19th.
I believe you're correct. I'm gonna trust you on that one. I don't honestly have a schedule put together yet. I definitely should, though.
Well, I've seen the schedule for it, and I know it says 219 on there, so I think that's when we get started.
Perfect.
Looking forward to it. We will have a lot of fun with this one. So let's see how they line up now for the in the qualifying run.
Yeah, well, let's take a look. I think they should be underway with qualifying right now. We'll bring you guys back into our live pictures here. As you see, we are now underway with qualifying. We're going to have just remember, all the guys who finished outside that top 10 are the ones who are going to be allowed to qualify. Some different numbers here, so remember that as well. Some of these drivers don't have assigned numbers quite yet within the Elite Racing League. So this time, if you're looking out for Will Power, that's going to be the number 14 car. You're watching here Jackson Lee, he's in the 52 car this time around. Josh Green still in the number 2. Simon Sykes, though, this time in the 6. Not sure if he was in that one last time. James Davison, though, you saw on your screen, in the 7 car. So again, numbers shuffled around a little bit, but the drivers are all the same.
And the pace should be just about as quick. We'll see how things go this time around.
Yeah, absolutely.
This will be Ethan Reisner driving the pace car. I see him listed as driving a Chevrolet Corvette.
Yes, I did see that. Ethan Reisner may be bringing us the pace car this time around, so we may have an official pace lap here before we get underway, which would be nice. We can introduce you all to that Elite Racing League's pace car that we were talking about earlier in the show. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Porsche versus a Corvette guy, I mean, you're going to get to see both those running alongside each other.
Let's ride on board with Jackson Lee. He's our provisional pole sitter so far.
Yeah, Jackson Lee. We're waiting on some people to throw together lap times here. Let's see what it looks like from the roll bar here of this 52 car. A nice purple. Oop, as we actually see he halts, pretty much grinds to a full-on stall there, but then gets it moving. We'll see how that affects, though, his starting this flying lap that he's got going on.
Jackson had a great end to his 2020 racing season, winning one of the Team USA scholarships and driving over at Brands Hatch and Silverstone in some of the Formula Ford races over there in the FF 1600 series.
Yeah, that's an awesome experience. It's there's certainly we're lacking in U.S. driver representation over in Europe. and it's definitely unfortunate. I think there's certainly a number of American drivers who are talented to be racing in in the likes of Formula 2 and Formula 1 over there, but man, oh man, we definitely need some more American drivers out there, and hopefully, we'll have some of these young guys, maybe even in the field here today, are ones who can make that trek over to Europe and try and make that work. Obviously, the last one to really do that was Alexander Rossi. I think back in 2015 was his last year in Europe.
Right, and he's the last one that made it to F1. We have not had an American in F1 since then. American team, but not an American driver. So hopefully that will change at some point in the near future. James Davison has moved up now to the provisional pole. Of course, the field will be reset based on qualifying performance and inverting the first 10 from the last race. We're on board with Simon Sykes right now, heading down Shoreline Drive.
And yeah, I guess we almost had an American driver. Depends on how you classify it. I believe Pietro Fittipaldi, who took part in the last couple of races in the 2020 season for Haas. He races under a Brazilian license, so I suppose there's that technicality. But I believe he was born in Florida.
He was born in Miami, which makes him probably a dual citizen. He could claim either one, but the Fittipaldis have always raced under the Brazilian flag.
Of course, yeah. So we were close, but not quite there. And he's certainly impressed with his 2 races there, just hopping into that seat. Not an easy thing to do to hop into these modern Formula 1 cars. Those things capable of upwards of, from what I've heard, upwards of like 7 Gs in the corners when they're really on it, which is ridiculous to think about.
And of course, Pietro he's still being talked about for a possible ride with Coyne this year in the IndyCar series, replacing Santino Ferrucci possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. That didn't even register in my mind that, because Santino Ferrucci is now committed to NASCAR Xfinity, he's left the IndyCar series full time. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to fill out. I think Coyne is probably one of the biggest teams still left to announce its full driver lineup. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. I know they were testing, or IndyCar was testing just this past week at Sebring, but I don't believe Dale Coyne Racing was in attendance.
I don't believe so, and of course Coyne likes to wait usually until the last minute to name his drivers, and this year was ironic in that it was the first year he'd actually had. Whoa!
All right, there you
that
see.
That was interesting. We were on board with Simon Sykes, and he sort of went off the end of the road there.
Oh man, that's practice here in these iRacing events. You sometimes see that there. Drivers just enjoy being able to take those cars to places that you normally would never really ever want to take them.
It's just let's see what happens if we go to the end of Shoreline Drive and just go straight. We've got another car around. Looks like James Davison whipped around there.
Yep. So and again, another one of those tricky corners. I think these medium speed corners are really where it's a little bit tricky to just get the power down.
Just for fun, Rich, can we get a replay on Simon on that just for fun?
Let's take a look and ride on board with that number 6 car as he went on a wild ride. Let's take a look and see. Here we go. Alrighty, let's go to the Simon Sykes. This is what the gyro cam looked like. It should get a little bit crazy here. He's just not going to brake. You can see there, full throttle, straight into the wall.
Whoa, don't try this at home, kids. And he landed wheels up.
There you go.
Right side up.
Perfect. Having a little bit of fun there. We got guys just sitting around on pit road right now, waiting for qualifying to come to an end in just 30 seconds here. You got drivers having a little bit of fun there on the end of pit road. I think one of those guys, Will Power, sitting on pit road, but R.C. Anderson was just toying around there. You see no front end on that 50 car. But yeah.
And no rear end on Sykes' car either.
Practice
the
in these
Pixel Body Shop is in full swing right now.
Absolutely, yeah. Practice in these iRacing lobbies can get pretty entertaining if you just like to sit through and watch what these guys decide to get up to.
It's a shame we can't get the driver chat from that just to see what was going on there.
Oh yeah, it'll be interesting for sure, and yeah, that's definitely something we should try to do in the near future. But yeah, the field will now be finishing up with qualifying right now. We've got a couple of guys still running on track. I think running for position, Dylan Christie, I think finishing up his last lap here. with Jackson Lee maybe running on track that looks like he's coming to a slow as well. Um, yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting race too. We saw at Barber Motorsports Park when we inverted the field, just how crazy that race got with guys trying to aggressively make their way back up through the running order. I expect to see a similar thing here today at Long Beach, where it's possibly even harder to overtake than Barber.
That should be interesting because if you put Will Power at the back of the field, it'll be fun to see just how quickly within 3 laps he's up at the front again.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of pace in that 14 car this time around. So qualifying's come to a finish. Right now, it looks like James Davison will be your pole sitter from, I think, Dylan Christie and then Jackson Lee. I believe those are your drivers who finished outside of the top 10 who decided to qualify here. The rest of that field will be inverted.
The Wyland Whale mural, one of the landmark sites of Long Beach, visible from all over the downtown area. Of course, the fountain.
Yeah, once again, just a beautiful racetrack. Cannot get this enough. I know iRacing has had Long Beach existing as what they call a tech track, I think, for some time, where the surface is fairly accurate, I think, but they didn't really have the surroundings and all that. But now you really get this full kind of atmosphere for Long Beach and what it's like downtown there in Southern California. And it's definitely a track that I would love to visit at some point, and hopefully post-pandemic we'll be enjoying quite a few races here, or our yearly race here going on.
Hopefully we'll be there in October as the field starts to grid up now.
Yeah. I certainly hope we'll be there in October. Certainly, as an Alexander Rossi fan myself, he's had quite the past couple of years here at the streets of Long Beach, and would certainly like for that run to continue.
Unfortunately, you won't see him in the iRacing version. I talked with Alexander last Friday night on our whiskeycast.com webcast, and he is not an iRacing fan. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. I hear you were actually featured on this week's Off Track with Hinch and Rossi as well that came out yesterday, so I definitely need to catch up on that.
Well, that was we took the audio from the whiskey tasting we did with the guys last Friday night on our webcast, and they used that for this week's episode.
Okay, so they're just getting a little bit lazy there, I see.
No, they're not getting a little bit lazy. Well, it is, Tim might have, yeah. Okay, let's be honest. Yeah,
it's your podcast.
He still had to do a little bit of work behind it, but it let the guys take. Well, since Alexander was at Sebring testing Tuesday when they normally would be taping, let them have the time to go test.
I do believe James was with him too, though, because I remember seeing that 29 Genesis car on track, or I don't believe it was Genesis. I'm trying to think who the primary sponsor was on that car.
I am not. It might have been Gainbridge at the time. Well, I'm not 100% sure because James wasn't planning to be there, although that may have been a change of plans after Marco decided to step back.
Yeah, I think.
So, but when we talked with James on the show last Friday, he was not planning to be in Sebring for the testing. But that may have changed over the last weekend, depending on what Andretti decided to do.
Interesting. I think James might have actually been, because I saw Alexander Rossi's car. He was there. There was a 29 Capstone car. The 26 is being driven this year, of course, by Colton Herta. He's moved over to the full Andretti squad, no longer Andretti Steinbrenner. But the Steinbrenner entry is now the number 29 car. So I believe that was James Hinchcliffe's car.
Yeah, still waiting for formal announcements on that.
Yes.
One announcement we did get this week was that Simona Di Silvestro is coming back to IndyCar, which is really great news.
Absolutely, yeah, that's going to be a fantastic opportunity for her because she's going to have Penske equipment, and if there's a team you want to be driving for, it's certainly Team Penske, especially if the last 3 years are anything to go by. Will Power and Simon Pagenaud winning 2 of the last 3 Indy 500s, and of course being extremely competitive in this last one. So yeah, absolutely. Great news for her, and yeah, if you're talking about female drivers, which unfortunately there are far too few of in the world right now, Simona certainly ranks amongst the top of those, so great opportunity for her. And
people have wondered for years what she could do if she was given proper equipment and the chance to do things right, and she's going to get that chance with Peretta Autosport and Beth Peretta working alongside Team Penske.
Absolutely, yeah. Cannot wait to see that. I think this year's Indy 500 grid is already looking to be pretty exciting. I think we were seeing somewhere near expected to be about 40 cars entry list, which would be amazing if we can get that.
We are still, it looks like, doing another pace lap here because the guys are only doing about 70 miles an hour and not really gunning it yet. Are we running on green? We're still running under caution. Okay.
Yeah, the caution is flying again. Excuse me about that. We should be seeing. I think he'll be coming up through the field here a little bit. There you see the
pace car.
A little bit out of place there. Pace car just trying to get to the front of the grid here. There we go. Ethan Reisner driving the Elite Racing League's official pace car there, the Corvette C8R. So he's going to pick up the field here. We've reorganized everybody. The top 10 from last race will all be getting end-of-line penalties here. That's why we run this extra pace lap. And then Ethan should peel off into pit road, and we'll be back underway for some full-on green flag racing. And watch the back of this line, because that's where you've got a lot of your heavy hitters starting this race. And they were all extraordinarily fast when it came to race number 1.
So Simon Sykes will be your pole sitter, Jackson Lee alongside him. Now they're switching it around. Ethan Reisner officially, Jackson Lee will be your pole sitter. Your front row is Lee and Sykes, followed by Dempsey, Walko.
Yep. Then it would be Geisler and Gavel, I believe. Stanley, Frankenfield, and then Christie, Wilhite. Davidson, Green, Power, Enerson, Thornquist, and Evans are the rest of your field. Some drivers may be taking an extra end-of-line penalty there. Ethan Reisner is going to bring that pace car down into pit road, and we're going to get ready to go green here. I believe it's going to be Jackson Lee controlling the field here as we get back to green flag racing. No, it'll actually be Simon Sykes. He's going to go very early. Jackson Lee caught extremely off guard.
As Sykes comes down, the green flag is out now. Your lap counter shows we're on lap 2. We're actually on the first lap of real racing. We'll be going 14 laps right now. As Simon Sykes comes down and leads him into the corner, let's watch what happens as Dempsey comes up alongside Jackson Lee. Dempsey pulls ahead of Lee coming through the corner on the inside. Lee tucks in behind him for third.
And Dempsey has already survived more of this race than he did in race 1. You saw he was involved in that crazy turn 1 incident. Meanwhile, further back, here we go. This is where things are interesting. You watch that 14 car around the outside of Chad Frankenfield. Will Power moving forward already up to 10th position. Josh Green sliding in behind it. Look out for these guys. Oh, we've got a spinner up ahead. That's Thomas Geisler in the number 16 car. He's going to stay out of the way of everybody. We're going to stay green then because he's able to recover that.
Nice save by Geisler, managing to keep it out of traffic and keep everything green. Sykes still leading everyone down. Will Power now up to 9th place, just taking aim at Dylan Christie in 8th. James Davison is up to 7th now.
Yeah,
R.C. Enerson is up to 11th.
Simon Sykes in the lead is checked out. He's got a second and a half already on Peter Dempsey right now. So once again, you're seeing having that pole position is such a huge help here, especially in this reverse grid field. So right now we'll have to see. But Will Power, as we see, R.C. Enerson spins it around in the final corner. He's going to bring it back in the right direction. But our second place finisher from race 1 now falls to the tail end of this pack. He's going to have a lot more work to do here tonight.
Well, RC has inverted the field once again, let's put it that way. As we come down, Davison makes a move on Bell and Christie. And we've got cars into the wall.
Marshall Stanley in the wall. You've got Will Power in the wall there, involved in that incident. As people are, all coming together there. You got a huge
and there's more traffic in behind them there.
RC and Zach Evans looks like those guys go around there as well. So that was just a huge domino effect there you had with Marshall Stanley getting spun around. Then it checked up James Davison and Dylan Christie, which checked up Will Power, which checked up RC Enerson and Zach Evans. Man, oh man.
It looks like a couple of them checked up and got into each other trying to avoid the traffic in front.
Exactly, but everyone is moving in the right direction again. We're going to stay green flag racing right now.
More travel.
As who is that in the back? Is that Chris Wilhite?
More cars into the
Chad
wall.
Thornquist. Oh my God, Chad Thornquist. R.C. Enerson
Power gets
goes
through
the wall. Power survives, but R.C. Enerson, Chad Thornquist both in the wall.
Oh, no, another near miss.
Close call for
coming
Marshall
around a blind
Stanley.
corner there.
Man, oh man, we talked about this race being exciting, but this is crazy racing right now. There, you see huge damage for R.C. Anderson. That looks like it might be game over for him. He's down in 14th position, might not have the car to finish this race right now. Meanwhile, we'll go a little bit further up. It's Josh Green now back on Dylan Christie, and James Davison a little bit further up the road. This is shaking up the field a little bit, or quite a bit here, both with that reversed grid and then with all of those incidents that occurred on that previous lap. That's what happens when you've got some of these fast guys maybe get a little bit impatient, things start to get a little bit hectic, and we get some incidents going on.
Sykes is still your leader by just about 1.1 seconds over Peter Dempsey. Walko in third, Jackson Lee in fourth, James Davison now up to fifth, Dylan Christie in sixth, Josh Green seventh, Chad Frankenfield eighth. Will Power is down to back down to 12th position now. Enerson in 14th, Geisler in 15th, Ryan Gavell in 16th place.
Here we go. This is a move from Davison on Jackson Lee, and he's going to secure it before they even get to the corner. Jackson looks like he's got a problem. He's completely slowed down. He's going to give up all of those positions. Did Jackson make contact with the wall there, maybe? And got something
couldn't
knocked
tell.
out of line? I didn't see anything there on our shot, but yeah, Jackson Lee loses a ton of time to this pack here, and now James Davison takes over fourth position, but he's already got Dylan Christie and Josh Green hot on his heels. There you see Jackson Lee does dive into pit road, so it looks like some damage there on that 52 car. So right now, it's still comfortable up front for Simon Sykes. Peter Dempsey falls back now 1.5 behind Trenton Walko, another 1.6 behind Dempsey. But this is where the battle's really going on here. As you see, Dylan
Christie makes a move.
Try for an outside move on James Davison. He's not quite going to get there. Davison protects there, and now Christie's going to be under attack by Josh Green.
Trying to make that outside move going into one at Long Beach is never a good idea.
No, it's not.
You don't have the inside line, don't even try.
It's a very, very tricky move. It's a wide entry to that corner that narrows down very, very quickly. You do not want to be on the outside line when that happens, because simply even the drivers on the inside are just always going to track all the way to the outside. It's impossible to take that corner side by side there. And yeah, smart driving there from Christie to just back out of that move there. But now he's got to come back at James Davison, but he's got really Josh Green to worry about right now, and Green's going to slide on by now, I think, before we get to this final sector.
Green's going to make a run. Let's see if he can outbrake Sykes, or outbrake Christie, rather. Yep, he makes that move. He makes it stick.
And both of these guys teammates in real life in the USF 2000 series, so getting a little bit of wheel-to-wheel practice with each other here on the streets of Long Beach. Both driving for Turn 3 Motorsports, owned by second-place driver Peter Dempsey.
And I think the guys, Marshall Stanley last week had some run-ins with the boss, with Peter, at Barber.
I believe so.
In one of those races.
Yeah, so it's been certainly an interesting little off season here for them.
Green gets into the wall.
Yeah, Green gets into the wall, and that means Christie's going to try and slide on by, but Green's not going to let him go easily. He makes it very difficult through the chicane. Meanwhile, you've got Chad Frankenfield kind of sneaking up on these guys. He's enjoying this battle, just watching and trying to keep up with them right now. But yeah, there you go. Josh Green loses that position to Dylan Christie. Christie now takes over 5th position.
Let's watch as they head down into turn 6.
Impressive on the close to the wall there. Oh, it's Chad Frankenfield makes contact.
Chad's into the wall on the right, so on the left side.
Loose off of that last corner there, gets into the wall. Might have knocked the toe out again on that 15 car. So not great there, unfortunately for Chad. But we're going to keep following this battle here, because the 8 and 2 car have been on each other like nothing else for the past 2 laps here.
And Sykes is up to a 2.5 second lead over Peter Dempsey for between first and second place. So if that changes, and Chad's all over the track there, let's see if he dives off into the pits.
He's going to stay out.
He was into the wall again.
Yeah, he looked like he got super loose there off in the final corner, but Chad's going to stay out, so it looks like that car's still drivable for him. We'll keep an eye on
either that or he may have missed the pit entrance, because it looked like he was really close to pit in when he got back out into the wall. He may not have been able to get into the pits.
Oh, potentially, yeah.
Let's keep an eye on that, because that could create a caution coming up here in this lap.
Absolutely, yeah. He's certainly falling back from these guys right now. So yeah, something up with that 15 car. We'll head further back a little bit right now and see. It looks visually maybe like the toe on the right front might be out of line.
Yeah.
But Yeah, that does look like it's out of line a little bit, but right now he's keeping it straight. Doesn't look like it's crabbing around too much. So Chad Frankenfield doing an all right job.
Careful, don't jinx him.
That's true.
Don't
That's very
jinx him.
true. Meanwhile,
let's let him get a
second
chance to
place-
get back to the pit safely.
Yeah, for second place, we got a little battle going on here right now with Trenton Walco versus Peter Dempsey. Trenton's been closing that gap pretty steadily to this 34 car in second place. Meanwhile, Simon Sykes enjoying, again, 2.5 second lead now. You can see there the 6 car further ahead of this battle for second. But yeah, Peter Dempsey's got his mirror full of Trenton Walco now, who's going to try and go for second place.
Let's watch as they come flying down Shoreline Drive on lap number 8. Heading into turn 1, it's still Dempsey. Let's see if Walco tries to make the move. Nope, sticks it right in behind on Dempsey's tail as they come down around the fountain hairpin.
Yeah, not quite, but looks like Walco's lost a lot in that section there. It looks like he just didn't quite carry the same speed that Dempsey is. Dempsey's now pulled out 1.5 seconds on Walco in that first sector. Something happened to this 61 car. Huh.
Let's keep an eye on him and see if there's any signs of damage. He's down to about a second, almost 1.8 seconds behind Dempsey right now.
Yeah, that's extremely surprising there. He was right on the tail of that 34 car, and then just very suddenly through the hairpin, fell off completely. So we'll keep you updated on the situation with
Whoa, we've got
Walco's.
cars on the track.
That's a laps car, I believe. Was that Jackson Lee? Nope, it was not. Not quite sure who that was. It was Thomas Geisler, actually. He's back up and running, that number 16 car. He's going to get out of the way here of this battle going on still between Josh Green and Dylan Christie. These guys still going at it. And yeah, you love to see this, especially if these guys are going to be racing head-to-head real life. Same equipment between the two of them. Seeing them this close on track is always a good thing.
A couple of young drivers in the Road to Indy series that hits the track for real starting April 18th now. We'll open up the season at Barber Motorsports Park with the Road to Indy series and IndyCar. They announced earlier today that Barber is being pushed back a week, which will allow the IndyCar race to be aired on Big NBC, as folks like to refer to it, instead of NBCSN. We also got the official announcement today that NBC Sports is planning to shut down NBCSN at the end of the year after the Olympics, and that's going to have a big impact potentially on IndyCar. There's talk that a lot of the events that have been run on NBCSN may be moved over to their Peacock streaming network.
Ooh, I would not certainly be a fan of that if I'm brutally honest there. But yeah, a shame. NBCSN been around for some time now, and I remember when they were doing the Formula One broadcasts. Those were always that was always a great broadcast team there, and Lee Diffie, of course, coming over from Formula One doing IndyCar again. But yeah, I mean, love that team that they have on the IndyCar broadcast for NBCSN. But yeah, IndyCar, NASCAR, there's a lot of sports that rely on NBCSN. But is it true that NBC still has the IndyCar contract, or
through the end of this season? It's up for renewal. They are negotiating it. Okay. It's up for renewal, and the big question is whether IndyCar will go along with having a bunch of the races put on a streaming network instead of being on cable, or whether they will move some of those races to a USA network.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly been, I think, one of the trickiest parts even about this NBCSN era with IndyCar has been that you've had a lot of practice and qualifying has been behind that paywall of NBC Sports Gold.
Which I've always paid for as it's when it's available. I think it's a great investment personally, just because I've always enjoyed watching the behind-the-scenes action that we don't normally get to see on the network.
Oh, absolutely. I've certainly enjoyed paying for it, and thankfully always renew in the month of May when they've got that nice little discount going on it. But yeah, it's certainly it's an interesting situation, because I know there's definitely not a lot of fans, especially international fans, who are unable to watch the IndyCar races because of the NBC location requirements, I believe.
Right. They have it geo-fenced so that if you're not in the United States proper, you can't watch the NBC app, which meant that our friends even across the river in Canada, in Detroit, in Windsor, Ontario, couldn't even watch the Detroit race on the NBC station, even though they theoretically could pick up the NBC station in Detroit.
Yeah, very interesting. So we'll keep an eye out on those those renegotiations between IndyCar and NBC though. But obviously, I think this is the first time the renegotiations will be taking place with the new man in charge, Roger Penske, who obviously took over the Speedway in 2020, but hasn't really been able to show off all of his great new innovations to both IndyCar and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As right after he took over, the worldwide pandemic hit us.
And if there's anybody that I would not want to be sitting across the negotiating table from, it's Roger Penske.
Absolutely. If there's a man in the world of motorsports who can get exactly what he wants, it's going to be the captain himself. You see there, R.C. Anderson just coming around the track right now, just kind of struggling with, or excuse me, that wasn't R.C. Anderson. Who is that on track?
I thought that was Geisler.
It's not Geisler. Who's that actually? Not Marshall Stanley. Chris Wilhite. Trenton Walco is who it is.
There we go.
We told you we keep you updated on Walco. He came in contact with the wall. He's going to come into the pit road, so he's fallen completely back from that lead.
Not sure where he went into the wall. We didn't see it at the time.
Yeah, we obviously were paying attention when he came off, or he started losing a ton of time to Peter Dempsey, but since then, obviously, wasn't quite sure what happened to Trenton Walco. Meanwhile, Peter Dempsey has closed the gap a little bit to Simon Sykes, down to about 1.4 seconds to the leader. We'll see what Dempsey can do, though, with 4 laps to go. He's potentially reeling Simon Sykes in a little bit too late, but he's making progress on every sector.
Dempsey running very smoothly. Let's see if we can do an on-camera, in-car camera lap with Dempsey on for this one. Let's watch us as he comes after Sykes.
Absolutely. Here we go. This is what it looks like to be chasing the leader here at Long Beach. You can see Simon Sykes just there a little bit in the distance. Once again, just I keep saying this every time I get on board with these cars. I know exactly how the cars drive around this track and exactly what it feels like to drive around this track, and it really is something special. It's not just necessarily the names and all that who show up to the race, obviously with it being so close to Hollywood in that sense in Southern California, but it really is just a special track to drive. The layout is so unique, and every corner you go to, you can tell just exactly how you need to take it, and it feels great when you hit the corners exactly correctly. But you see there, actually, Peter Dempsey a little bit off the apex there in turn 1, and you can see just how close you get to the walls here, and just how easy it is to watch your race just go up in flames.
Let's watch as he takes this tight right-hander now.
Using up all the track here, you're going to see he's going to go all the way up to this outside wall, right wheel almost kissing that wall. He's going to, again, miss the apex a little bit, but also these guys need to take into account 12, 13-lap-old tires here. These things are getting worn, and they've probably been pushing on them all race long, so these tires have certainly seen better days. He's going to slide it in through on this back straight, and here you go. This is where you'd love to have the power that they have in those Indy cars. To try and help close in some of the gap, but not too much here. I think about 170 horsepower, I want to say, in these USF 2000s.
Something along those lines with no push to pass.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So tricky. You're really reliant on just carrying speed through the corners, and that I think is a large part of what this is teaching young drivers to do that and rely on the momentum you can carry around the track. But there you go. That's a lap with Peter Dempsey. Again, another staple driver of the Road to Indy series, been around for a while, now runs Turn 3 Motorsports here. You can see that logo on the front bulkhead of this car. He's got some of his team drivers racing in here as well, 2 notable ones that we've been paying attention to were Dylan Christie and Josh Green, who are still half a second apart further behind. Peter Dempsey, unfortunately, not quite able to close in on leader Simon Sykes quite yet with 2 laps to go. But Josh Green and Dylan Christie are still separated by next to nothing here on track.
James Davison has made it all the way back up to 3rd place now. He's 7.5 seconds behind our leaders.
Yeah, good recovery run for James Davison here. He obviously had that mistake turn 1, lap 1, and race 1, but has since then come back. He's running a solid 3rd right now. Keeps it out of the wall, keeps it out of trouble. Should be good to go to bring home a really nice result here. Meanwhile,
we're on board watching Simon Sykes as he comes down, heading for the hairpin. Sykes heads down Shoreline Drive and crosses the line for the whiskeycast.com. Last call, final lap. If you're into whiskeys, you want to listen to the WhiskeyCast podcast. It's available wherever you get your podcasts or at whiskeycast.com. As our leader Simon Sykes heads down into turn one.
Yeah, if you can't get enough of Mark here in your weekly Friday night series, definitely go listen to some WhiskeyCast. It's not just motorsport; it's obviously enjoying some nice drinks there every week.
Thank you. Simon Sykes has led this race from flag to flag pretty much the entire way around, and he's let's see. I think we had a problem with Peter Dempsey because Dempsey has dropped back significantly now. He's being shown in 7th place.
Yeah,
I wonder what happened there.
It's showing that he made a stop on pit road, so it might have actually. I can't believe he went in for like a splash and dash there, and also the stop time that he had on pit road was next to nothing. Kind of strange situation there.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been 1.2 seconds. Might actually be a quick repair time. I believe that's what that is. So must have hit the wall somewhere and dove straight into the pits. But yeah, James Davison then 2nd place. But for Simon Sykes, across the line, he's the winner here today for race number 2 from flag to flag. We saw it from Will Power earlier in the night in race number 1 flag to flag. Simon Sykes grabs pole and the win here in race 2. A great drive there from the driver number 6. James Davison brings it home for 2nd place, and Josh Green beats teammate Dylan Christie to the line for 3rd position. Beats him, as we see there, an aggressive little spin there. Beats his teammate by 0.03 of a second across the line. I kind of want to go back and see that replay.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at that replay. Chad Frankenfield came in 5th, Chris Wilhite 6th, Peter Dempsey finishes in 7th, Trenton Walco in 8th, Marshall Stanley in 9th. Will Power comes in 10th after starting at the back in the inverted field. Let's see what happens here on this finish.
There you go. I mean, that's just how close it was between the two. Josh Green, just a nose ahead of teammate, just ahead of teammate Dylan Christie there. You see there, Josh Green just beats out Dylan, and there you go. Race number 2 done, and that's it for the races here tonight. Simon Sykes wins 1. Will Power wins 1. Just fantastic racing here at Long Beach once again. Certainly not as much passing as maybe we saw in the race 2 at Barber, but that obviously once again is pretty indicative to the types of circuits we have here. But Long Beach certainly punishing drivers harder than we saw at Barber, where you go anywhere off the racing line here, you are hard into the wall, and drivers really having to utilize those fast repairs that they had available to them tonight.
Rish, you want to see if Simon wants to join us for a second?
Yeah, let's take a look and see if we've got anybody in the waiting room ready for us. Doesn't quite look like it, but let me see if I can reach out to anybody.
We should have more Road to Indy action next Friday night at 7:30 here on the Elite Racing Channel.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm actually want to see what track we're heading to next. I don't know if it's let's take.
May not have been announced.
That's a good point. Let's take a look at the schedule we got. It will be Mid-Ohio.
Okay, we're in preseason racing right now. This is a fairly informal series, so things get put together on the fly fairly quickly.
Yes, sir. But yeah. So unfortunately, won't be having anybody in the interview booth with us tonight. But there you go. Your recap from the night is Will Power, winner of race 1 from flag to flag, and in race 2 from flag to flag as well. Simon Sykes wins from James Davison and Josh Green, beating out teammate Dylan Christie just at the line there. Chad Frankenfield brings it home for 5th with Chris Wilhite. Peter Dempsey, after that late mistake and late pit stop. Trenton Walco, similar situation with him. Marshall Stanley and Will Power making up that top 10. Marshall, Will, Trenton, and Peter all involved in various incidents throughout this second race, whether or not it was them starting it or just getting caught up in other people making mistakes. But it was an interesting race too here. Interesting race 1 as well, watching that domination from Will Power. But yeah, sign us out here, Mark. That's going to be it from Long Beach. And we'll, certainly be looking forward to the next race at Mid-Ohio.
So we'll see you next Friday night on the Elite Racing Channel, 7:30 East Coast time from virtual Mid-Ohio. That does it for us tonight. For Rish